Hello, folks. We've spent all day writing down funny fake names again. And if anyone finds my notes, they're gonna think I'm crazy. But do have to issue a retraction of my earlier list of funny names. I'm not gonna read the rest out because this is just turning to chaos and it doesn't even make sense anymore. I'm pretty sure I launched right into the Mystery Science Theater Red Brown bit from Space Mutiny, something like that. In my attempts to think of funny names, and I didn't even realize I was trying to kind of copy, but not quite fully plagiarize something else, and I ended up accidentally plagiarizing another thing. Terrible. So we've adjusted some of those. I'm pretty sure Slab Manhole was the main one. We've had to tone that one down a notch. It's now Lionel Manhole. Um, the idea is that Rob is the muscle of the group in Zach's eyes. So he's like, I'm gonna give you a tough name. But we did get a little bit close to the sun there. We've toned it down with a few of them. It's now sometimes Don Tomato or Lionel Manhole. It's fine. We we'll probably use like between 2 and 0 of all these that we've written down. That's fine. We're just getting into the right headspace for when we need to invent names. So we're trying a few different context-sensitive ones as well, which is exciting. Anyway, moving swiftly on. I'm not sure how good the writing was yesterday. I did. Okay, it's not like I haven't seen the sun in like a month. There's been a storm directly over where I live for so long. I've forgotten what it's like to see natural light. It's been raining every day for the past month, and I'm feeling it. It's just I don't know. Just today, it all hit me at once. I've just been really miserable today. I think I got most of my words out of the way before the most of the the bulk of the malaise hit, but I'm worried about the coming batches definitely, especially when I'm kind of reaching the point where I'm not sure where I'm going. I'm also reaching the point in a nano where you start to get fatigue just naturally from it. And at the same time, I'm starting the seasonal depressions are really going. You know, I used to really like autumn. It used to be my favorite one. And then kind of, you know, climate change started, doing some stuff. We don't really have like spring or autumn here anymore. We kind of just have summer and winter. So it feels like winter right now. Anyway, we're reading the thing. We're doing it now. This isn't working, April decided glumly. Got a better idea? Zach asked. I've got a hammer, she replied quite openly. Keep him busy? Gotcha. Robin entered the room at some point while they were dealing with the bald Grumpus. He'd stood, observing the duo in action, with his hands in his pockets until April armed herself. At that point, quite by accident, the two locked eyes. What are you still doing here? April challenged. You're definitely getting a flag on your file, mate, Zach informed him. Don't mind me, Rob laughed. Just watching. I thought you were leaving. April gestured angrily at him with the hammer. Never said anything like that, Rob told her. Anyway, you said I could come with. Zach shrugged. He's got a point. Whose side are you on? She pointed the hammer at him now. The bald man stared again. Children, the lot of you. You'll find nothing but pain beyond this door. April considered that. So we can go in. I won't be the one to stop you. He began cackling darkly again. Okay. She smashed the topmost hinges of the door with a hammer, and immediately it began to bulge outwards from its frame. It took me so long to try and describe a door being broken slowly with a hammer. This sentence I wrote in like 3 different ways that were all nonsense. Rob had walked up to Zach by the desk and leaned over to him as the DIY work continued in the background. So you government workers. We're not from any of the branches you're familiar with, Zach explained candidly, matching Rob's lean so that the two almost butted heads. It's pretty hush-hush, you get me? April smashed the last of the hinges, and the door toppled outward. A trio of suited men were watching the destruction wordlessly from beyond the doorway. Hi, she called to them. Don't be alarmed, we're handymen. We came here to fix this door. Unfortunately, it was beyond saving. You're mental, is what you are, Rob informed Zach. Zach laughed, mistaking the assertion for a joke. I wasn't kidding, you know. You can come along if you'd like. Rob appeared nonplussed. Why would I want to go with you? I thought you wanted to know what's happening here. Zach answered quickly, seeming disappointed. The answer posed another question. You know what's happening here? No, not a clue. We're going to find out, though. Zach smiled confidently. Was he confident twice? No, I don't think so. I think that were fine. Still trying to make it make sense that Rob follows them. I think we're getting there. This was tempting. Zach appeared okay, now he's confident twice in a row. Zach appeared confident, though he was obviously crazy. In the background, April was hunched over the stricken door, pretending to diagnose whatever had been the problem with it, hoping a hammer was enough of a disguise that nobody around would ask anything too prying of her. That means, we're going to have to fix this sentence, but it means she's hoping that just having a hammer is enough of a disguise as a handyman that you can get away with it. You're going to get arrested, Rob informed him. Zach laughed again. Least of our problems, mate. Stick with us, you'll see. Rob wasn't sure what Zach, or Danton, was trying to say. This is stupid and we should just get rid of it. But that was me remembering that I've kind of got lost in between POVs in this section. So, weird. We'll probably just delete this and pretend there's nothing strange going on. Don't even worry about it. Rob wasn't sure what Zach or Danton was trying to say. Was that a boast or a threat? Why would he threaten him and then ask him to come along? Why would he boast about that in the first place? I don't. Rob was stricken mute by the madness of it all. You'll know it when you see it. Pick a direction and leave. Quite unexpectedly, the receptionist chimed in again. Sorry, mate. On my way. Zach called back over, heading towards April. You coming? He shot back at Rob. Rob was very aware that all of his decisions this day would be wrong. He felt the weight of fate pressing down on him, knowing full well the impasse he was at between the choice he should make and the choice he was about to make. Finally feeling that he understood the early prediction on a spiritual level. It had not been wrong. Yeah, I'm coming. Rob tried not to say it, but he couldn't find the will within him. He addressed the receptionist as he passed. Sorry about all this, mate. The bald man shrugged. He did not give one single, solitary shit. His job, after all, was expressly not to stop people with hammers from barging their way in if they chose to. There were others. Beyond the tiny, grim box room, the building took on an entirely new character. I wasn't sure what was going to be here. We managed to get past the receptionist fairly quick, but it was still a bit long. And then I was not 100% what we were going to be looking at. So this was kind of me trying to create the location as I was writing it. Well, we'll see. The floors were now expansive and open. Without the clutter that made the previous floors choked and claustrophobic, the building was extremely spacious, almost to the point of being welcoming. Glass-walled offices lined the walls, with two winding staircases between them orbiting the outskirts of a completely open middle area. That is very long, is that? Completely open middle area that spanned several floors. Wrapped like a DNA helix around a large metal sculpture that was suspended from the stairs are wrapped like a DNA helix. I thought at the time, was this too long since I mentioned the stairs? Oh no, this is the stairs. Two winding staircases between them, orbiting the outskirts of a completely open middle area that spanned several floors, wrapped like a DNA helix around a large metal sculpture that was suspended from the roof several feet above the group's heads. That seems like it needs fixing, but it's not as bad as I initially thought. Beneath was a small rest area with a number of benches and a mural depicting the burning of an ancient town by a jackal-headed demon. Like I said, it was only almost welcoming. Stuff like this drives people crazy. And sometimes drives me crazy depending on what mood I'm in. And I'm probably going to cut. There were still no windows of any kind in this area of the building. Not a single shred of natural light could penetrate the room. Powerful light. I mean, what do you. They're called lights, right? What else could we call? Powerful lights had been installed to make up for this as best they could, but the areas between them, or where they'd malfunctioned, were thick with muddy shadow. The offices themselves were well enough lit to be glowing, and the many busy people milling around the walkways outside were as featureless grey spectres. The area was a bustle of activity as identical suited men milled around back and forth, most giving only a passing glance to the team of obvious outsiders who infiltrated them. It wasn't their job to stop anyone either. In the nearest office, a small contingent of men in business suits were dancing around what appeared to be a pentagram, each holding a thin black candle. One office further had two men, flanked on all sides by filing cabinets, processing important documents. Beyond that, someone naked from the waist up was being flogged with a whip. Rob leaned across to Zack once again. Is this what you expected? Pretty much, Zack confirmed. Rob continued looking around the apparent madhouse. He waved to some passing suits, and one of them waved back casually. The man being flogged roared in pain as the whip came down again with a thunderous crack. Rob thought about the man who'd eaten his own hands. This was where I started. I had a sleep in between the two halves. I've been starting as soon as the clock rails past midnight, and picking up again during the day. I think I was doing a better job during the day. I felt a little bit better, but then as the day went on, uh, it got bad. What now then? Rob again looked to Zack for advice. Zack pointed upwards. We go all the way to the top. Rob was beginning to get the feeling that this plan hadn't been thought all the way through. What then? Trust me, Zack beamed. The non-answer was less than encouraging. Zack, are we moving? April interrupted, before Rob could voice his increasing concerns. April had left the door to lie, and after realizing nobody was trying to stop her, had scouted ahead to the base of the stairs, expecting her companion to follow shortly. Moving, Zack confirmed. He didn't wait to get confirmation from Rob, who was left once again at a confusing impasse, where his curiosity was very nearly overwhelmed by the rising madness of the situation. How many stairs? Get your walking legs on, was the reply. Oh, excuse me, she finished apologetically, almost bumping into a man who appeared to be covered from head to toe in blood. He apologized and continued on his way. It was all very strange. The stairs began roughly adjacent to where the screaming gentleman was being publicly flogged. Another crack of the whip heralded another yelp of pain, and Rob had, frankly, had enough of it. Oi, cut it out! He yelled over at the whip wielder, who turned to Rob slowly. He was wearing a hood that covered his face over an expensive suit and tie. The wrist on his weapon arm was decorated with a fancy golden watch. Mind your own business, the other man yelled, shirtless and bleeding. Again, the situation slipped subtly away from the bounds of acceptable normality. Okay, sorry, I assumed. Yeah, well, now we know what happens when we assume, huh? The guy continued, clearly quite insulted. I guess you make an ass out of you and me, he finished, looking backwards to his hooded cohort. Hit me again. Rob wanted nothing more to do with it. He continued marching upwards, defeated, with the screams of pain resumed behind him. Somewhere a weird little bit that I kind of liked. We're trying to set the scene here. It's we wanted I don't know, like a normal boring office, rich people office, not a poor people cubicle farm. But also, it's I don't know, it's got all this dang weirdness in it. They do worship the monster god here, after all. We're starting to kind of think of the villains, how they're gonna be. The big Cthulhian horror of the piece is gonna be a god who wants to kill the sun, and I'm going to describe this at some point. We're going to write a thing about this, so we're not just sat here thinking how we're gonna word it. But yeah, basically, being from beyond time and space wants to kill the sun to plunge the world into darkness because he fears the only thing he fears is himself, and if he sees himself, it terrifies him. So he can only be in darkness. Um, that's why there's no natural light allowed anywhere. He don't like heat, and he don't like fire, and he don't like light. Yeah, he can deal with a bit of light if it's not from the sun, but he won't do nothing about sunlight. He won't even give you the time of day if there's sunlight. I kind of were looking for like a mythologically inspired force of nature to throw into this like modern world. Uh, There's an existential threat. He's going to kill the sun. But most of the villains are going to be kind of vessels for him. I don't think he's ever going to show up. I haven't thought of a name for him yet. If you've got one, hit me up. But probably going to be dealing with more people who like a tiny bit of his power can come through. And for reference, the villain from previous, the drowned thing, who doesn't know nothing about anything but drowning, and kind of it's a big ball of meat and tentacles who wants to tell you about drowning. Goes around strangling people because it's like drowning. It's the only thing he knows. Also, you don't want to be too close to him because he'll make you think about drowning. He's like not even. He's like maybe on the kind of power level of one of the vessels. Maybe he's not. He's nowhere close. He's not actually a god. He's just an alien consciousness. Anyway, up ahead, a contingent of suits were sitting equidistant in neat rows at small tables. All the lights in the room were switched off so as to embolden the weak glow of an overhead projector against a whiteboard on the back wall. One of the figures was struggling to run a PowerPoint presentation entitled The Sun and How to Kill It, while the rest observed. Elsewhere, another small group were making a terrible racket as one of them tried to coach a few others in proper pitch for demonic chanting, broadly on Latin pronunciation. Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to know where the Department of Punishments is? I've got a parcel, a lady in a suit asked April at the head of the group, realizing immediately that it had been a bad idea as soon as she got a good look at her. No idea, April replied courteously. Sorry. Right, thanks. Slightly embarrassed and realizing she'd made a mistake, the woman left with an uncomfortable nod, keeping her eyes on the ground as she turned to leave. There's a bloke with a whip down there, is that it? Rob called up, but she'd already gone. Another yelp of pain ran out. Rob Rob wondered if she was deaf or if his intuition had misfired. Floors each took the form of a single, looping balcony, circumnavigating the entire width of the tower. Even here, nothing was quite straight, as the building's nonsensical proportions simply could not be worked like that. But an attempt had been made to have it looking orderly. The glass-walled rooms meant you could see into anywhere from anywhere, as long as your view wasn't blocked by the weird, brass-coloured sculpture in the centre. The sculpture was, on closer inspection, made of many tiny moving parts. It clicked and ticked and tucked at odd intervals, with some kind of unplaceable rhythm that seemed almost random but wasn't quite. It was getting louder as they got higher. And that's where we're at. To say I wasn't sure at all. Ooh, my voice got for a second there. Microsoft Word shouldn't be doing that. Okay. To say I wasn't sure at all what this place was gonna look like. I only had kind of a vibe that I wanted to try and match. I had no actual description in mind. I think we're doing okay. I just need to work out where we're going next. I know kind of what I want to happen, but I don't know how it. I don't know how it starts to happen or how it. Yeah, how does it start to happen? Also, I'm kind of confused with the layout of my building. Why are they taking the stairs when they took the lift to get here? What's going on? Why was there that one room that they had to go through, that like security room, but you could have taken the lift higher than that and just gone around it? What? Yeah, we need to think about that. They did. I think it required them being in the lift later, did a thing. But the lift was supposed to go higher, but it won't make sense. We're gonna have to at least change earlier in the minimum we have to change is earlier when everyone's picking floors at random. I think only Rob did, but Rob picked a floor at random, and now it turns out there was only one he could take the lift to, and the rest you have to take the stairs. Possibly. And then I can't remember what the other thing was. Yeah, the other way is like we just let the lift go higher, but now they're walking up the stairs for some reason, and also they had to go through. Do we? I mean, we could easily get rid of the second receptionist, right? But yeah, I don't know. I did want them to kind of take in the area for a minute before the things happened. Like that's kind of important. Plus, we're cementing Rob's place in the team here. That's important too. Just need to get all the details down. The trick is, in my opinion, you just keep going, and if it don't make sense, then future Fruity Spruce goes back and fixes the beginning bit of whichever bit you like least out of the whole sequence of events, and then the whole thing makes sense. Eventually, you just gotta beat it into shape like a blacksmith. Anyway, that's where we're at. That's today's video. We're almost a third of the way through. We're gonna keep doing this. Don't know what's gonna happen tonight. I'm hoping I'll feel better. Anyway, I'll see you then.